This week brings major updates on the tirzepatide shortage and crisis. We'll look at how GLP-1s are changing grocery spending and highlight the first compounded semaglutide gummy, believe it or not. Plus, we'll cover Zepbound's rapid rise and how Big Pharma is gearing up for 2025. Stay tuned. These updates could impact your GLP-1 adventure.
Welcome to the Downsized News. It's Monday, January 6th, and we're excited to bring you the latest updates on GLP-1 medications. I'm Laraine Durham, and I've lost over 50 pounds using compounded tripeptide, which is the same active ingredient that's found in Zepbound and Mounjaro. The Downsized is our channel where we share information, tips, and personal stories about GLP-1s. We're a husband and wife team, married over 21 years, and proud parents of 3 amazing kids. Over the last year, we've had great success losing weight with GLP-1s, and now we're here to help you stay informed, inspired, and supported on your own path to better health.
I'm Christopher Durham, and I've lost 90 pounds thanks to GLP-1s. Today, we'll talk about the latest news on Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, Ozempic, tirzepatide, semaglutide, and probably a few more coming along.
Before we jump in, here's a quick reminder, we're not doctors. We're just people passionate about GLP-1s and weight loss. It's always a good idea to talk to a qualified healthcare professional before starting or adjusting any medication or treatment.
And join us for the Downsized Live Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we dig into your questions and connect with you, our fantastic community. And while you're here, please do not forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update.
Now let's get into today's news and explore what's happening in the world of GLP-1s.
Story number 1, last week on the Downsized, we broke down a major shift in the OFA versus the FDA case regarding tirzepatide shortages. U.S. District Judge Mark T. Pittman reopened the case, requiring both sides to agree by January 15, 2025, on how to share unredacted FDA documents. This step sets the stage for the plaintiff's request for a preliminary injunction, which could temporarily pause the FDA's ruling that keeps tirzepatide off the shortage list. In response, Eli Lilly filed a motion to intervene, emphasizing concerns about patient safety and regulatory standards for compounded tirzepatide. Lilly is now pushing to protect its market exclusivity, arguing that compounded versions lack FDA oversight. The court fast-tracked Lilly's motion, scheduling a January 10, 2025 hearing to address the intervention and map out the next steps. These decisions could influence the availability of compounded tirzepatide and potentially reshape FDA enforcement policies. Meanwhile, the FDA reaffirmed that it does not intend to enforce the violations of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, the FD&C Act, related to tirzepatide's compounding for a limited time to prevent unnecessary treatment disruptions. According to the FDA, state-licensed pharmacies, which are Section 503A, are permitted to compound, distribute, or dispense tirzepatide injections until February 18, 2025, which was 60 calendar days from the announcement. Outsourcing facilities, Section 503B, are permitted to compound, distribute, or dispense tirzepatide injections until March 19th, which was 90 days from the original announcement. The stated dates remain in place, but it's unclear how or if the legal proceedings will impact these deadlines. We reported pretty extensively on live last week on this, so make sure and go back and catch all that if you'd like all the details about the case and what's happening with compounded tirzepatide and the tirzepatide shortage. I don't know, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know, but put your reorders in now.
Yeah.
I've got a reorder on the way, and I suggest everyone that has compounded medications do the same.
Honestly, I think anybody who tells you they know what's going to happen,
well, no one knows.
They're just making stuff up. They don't know. It's the vagaries of our legal system.
In story number 2, a new study shows that people taking GLP-1s are spending less on groceries. Researchers from Cornell University and Numerator found that households with at least one GLP-1 user cut their grocery bills by about 6% within 6 months of starting the medication. Higher income households saw even bigger changes. Their grocery spending dropped nearly 9% during the same time. The biggest cuts came from calorie-dense processed foods like chips, baked goods, and cookies. Purchases of savory snacks fell by 11%. With almost 15 million adults in the U.S. now taking GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Wegovy, food companies are starting to notice the shift. Researchers saw a small increase in spending on fresh produce and yogurt. But overall, grocery baskets got healthier because people bought fewer unhealthy items instead of just adding more healthy ones. The study estimates that the 6% drop in grocery spending equals about $416 less spent per household each year. For higher income households making over $125,000, the annual reduction was around $690. Snacking seems to be taking the biggest hit. Spending on chips, cookies, and other treats dropped between 6.7% and 11.1%. Researchers say this trend could reshape how food companies market and sell their products as more people start taking GLP-1s.
So we've reported on the food industry pretty extensively. Obviously, in our real-world jobs, we work with a number of food manufacturers and grocers. That's kind of what we do. And we've seen the changes. I mean, Hershey's talked about it. ConAgra launched new lines. This isn't a big surprise. It's good to see Cornell, a major university taking a look at what's going on.
Well, and just thinking about our personal household, we don't buy cookies or chips or snacks. We don't really snack. And we definitely buy more whole foods, more fresh foods. I'm a big fan of Greek yogurt. Christopher doesn't like that.
No, I'm not a yogurt fan.
So I can definitely see. I mean, it'd be interesting to go back and look at our grocery spending and over year over year and compare. I might take a look at that and see how that looks.
I mean, I don't know that I believe it's gone down. Honestly, I think what has happened is we've shifted the spend to better proteins, right? So we're buying salmon, which is a bit more expensive, almost once a week, right? We're buying. So I think, I bet we would be even, but I might be wrong.
It's interesting. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. Plus, our two girls went to college, so we're not. That took a big chunk out of our food bill, right?
Story number 3, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, has approved a generic version of Victoza, which is Liraglutide developed by Hikma Pharmaceuticals. This generic option, available in a 6 milligram dosage, is now on the market in the United States. Liraglutide is a GLP medication that works with diet and exercise to improve blood sugar control in adults and kids 10 years and older. It's part of a drug class also used, as we know, very well for weight loss treatments like Wegovy and Zepbound. With drug costs being a major concern for many patients, the availability of generic versions could potentially lower prices and improve access. According to market data, sales of Liraglutide in the United States totaled about $1.3 billion over the past year, highlighting significant demand for the medication. The introduction of a generic alternative may help increase affordability and expand treatment options. Hikma is one of the leading suppliers of generic injectable medicines in the United States, with more than 170 products in its portfolio. While the company has stated its commitment to improving access to essential treatments, patients using GLP to treat the disease of obesity still face challenges related to cost and availability. The addition of a generic Liraglutide could be a step forward addressing these issues, but broader changes in pricing and access remain critical. The FDA approval applies only to the U.S. market and does not authorize the sale of this product outside the United States.
And this is still an injectable medication, Victoza or Liraglutide.
Yep.
Is this the one that your uncle was on?
I think he was on that for a while.
His type 2 diabetes?
He's since changed, but I think so.
And how does Liraglutide compare to Semaglutide or tirzepatide?
Way underperforms on weight loss. But I mean, it's being written for diabetes most of the time, and weight loss is just a secondary benefit. Now, if you follow along with a lot of people, there are people testing this out for maintenance as well.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Would it be a good maintenance alternative? If compounding becomes harder to get, would this be a good alternative in the generic form?
I don't know that it would get you to the big weight loss, but it might keep you even.
Keep you from gaining.
Right.
In story number 4, telehealth provider Eden has announced the launch of the first compounded semaglutide gummy. Marketed as a convenient, needle-free alternative to traditional GLP medications, this gummy format aims to provide a new approach to GLP in the United States. It states that the gummy contains the same active ingredient as compounded semaglutide injections. While this format may appeal to those seeking an alternative delivery method, its effectiveness compared to injectable GLP-1 medications has yet to be fully evaluated. The compounded semaglutide gummy is available through subscription plans starting at $246 per month. Patients are encouraged to consult their healthcare providers to determine whether this option is appropriate for their treatment plans. It is important to note that Eden has not provided research supporting the safety or efficacy of this gummy format. Additionally, no research or FDA-approved gummy version of semaglutide is currently available. So how are they able to do this? And it sounds expensive, too.
I think it is expensive.
$246 a month. I think Mochi is $99 a month for the compounded semaglutide shot.
Yeah. I think the problem with all the oral versions, and I assume Gummy would be the same way, is they have to, because
digest.
The bioavailability of this is a lot lower when it has to hit your digestive system. They have to put a lot more of the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, in it. So I think it pushes the price up today. The science hasn't quite figured it all out. Like I said, is this going to work? I don't know. How do they legally get away with this? I don't know. Is there going to be a lawsuit? I would bet $1 million there will be a lawsuit.
I mean, this doesn't come from a compounding pharmacy. This is a
No, it must come from a compounding pharmacy.
Making a gummy?
Sure. It's just, what's the difference between making a gummy or squirting it in a vial? It's still a process.
I didn't know that compounding pharmacies had the ability to make a gummy medication.
It would have to be a 503B, I would think. I mean, somebody who's got an actual manufacturing facility. I don't.
Yeah,
this isn't.
Sounds like it's not
Nick's
really,
Pharmacy on the corner making a gummy. No.
Yeah, no. It sounds like it really hasn't been tested. It has not provided research supporting safety or efficacy of the gummy format. I mean,
like I would expect to see a lawsuit from Novo Nordisk about this one in next week's news.
Probably so.
I don't know. You could try it, but I would probably go with the injections that are a little bit cheaper and more effective anyway.
Exactly.
Story number 5, Eli Lilly's Zepbound is making big moves in the obesity market since the FDA approved it to treat obesity in late 2023. It's been closing the gap with Novo Nordisk's Wegovy. Now, experts think Zepbound might soon take the lead. I don't think that's a surprise to any of us, is it?
No.
As we have reported, Zepbound just scored another FDA approval, this time for obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. It's now the first prescription drug approved to treat both obesity and moderate to severe OSA. Lilly is also testing Zepbound's key ingredient, tirzepatide, for other conditions like heart failure, prediabetes, and MASH. Novo Nordisk isn't standing still, though. Novo Nordisk isn't standing still, though. Wegovy was approved earlier this year to lower the risk of heart attack, stroke, and cardiovascular death in people with obesity or who are overweight. Novo is also testing semaglutide, the main ingredient in Wegovy, for conditions like kidney disease, Alzheimer's, and MASH as well. Even with Wegovy's early lead, Zepbound has been catching up fast. New U.S. prescriptions for Zepbound passed Wegovy's in early March 2024, just a few months after Zepbound hit the market. By August, analysts estimate Zepbound had grabbed 40% of the U.S. obesity market, but Wegovy is still ahead in sales. In the third quarter of 2024, Zepbound brought in $1.26 billion below analysts' expectations of $1.7 billion. Wegovy, on the other hand, pulled in about $2.5 billion and beat expectations by 8%. Experts say Zepbound has what it takes to dominate the market. In a recent head-to-head study, Zepbound outperformed Wegovy. People taking Zepbound lost an average of 20.2% of their weight in 72 weeks. Those on Wegovy lost 13.7%. That's a 47% difference. Analysts also think Zepbound could end up being more cost-effective. With its strong results and growing approvals, Zepbound might already be taking the lead, or will very soon. Record high sales made by Novo Nordisk in the obesity treatment space have prompted a wave of investment in the sector over the last few years. According to Global Data's drug database, there are more than 400 companies actively developing obesity drugs, from discovery to pre-registration candidates. There is also significant demand in the area. Global Data identified that obesity and overweight conditions were estimated to have caused a staggering $425.5 billion in economic costs to businesses and employees in the United States alone in 2023. It reported that of the 158 million civilian employees on the non-farm payrolls, 30%, or 46.9 million, were classified as having obesity, and 34%, or 53.8 million, had overweight in 2023. So that gets to your 70+% of total Americans. Still, there's a major hurdle for both drugs, their high costs. With prices often reaching over $1,000 a month, many patients who need these medications struggle to afford them. The extreme profits made by drug companies raise questions about access and fairness. While these medications are game changers for treating obesity, the challenge of making them affordable remains a big concern. And we remain skeptical that Lilly can keep these medications in stock. Despite their significant investment in manufacturing, it is unrealistic to believe they can keep up with the overwhelming demand. So just growing hand over fist. It's insane, the growth.
Yeah, I mean, talking billions. And what did it say? There's so many more companies now racing to develop, was it 400?
It was like 400, yeah.
Yeah, 400 companies racing to develop a GLP-1 drug like this. So, I would say in a couple years we'll have lots of options for GLP-1 medications.
And I think that's exciting. I mean, if you think about it, 20 years ago, there was no Amazon.
No.
None whatsoever.
Was there Amazon 10 years ago? I mean,
right. So who among those 400 companies is that unknown player that 10 years from now will be dominant in the market?
Well, I mean, I just think the competition will help to drive the prices down as they compete for customer dollars.
Drive innovation, drive pricing. It's good for all of us.
In story number 6, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are expected to stay on top in the GLP-1 market in 2025. Both companies continue to work through supply issues and bring in big profits from their tripeptide and Semaglutide drugs. Despite their growth, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are not expected to be the top drug makers by sales this year. Analysts at Evaluate predict Roche will lead prescription sales in 2025. Lilly is on track to rise from the 11th largest drug maker in 2024 to the 4th largest drug maker in 2025. Novo is expected to move from 10th place to 6th place. Roche's position as the top drug maker may seem surprising. None of its drugs were named in the report's list of top products. However, analysts say Roche has a strong lineup of medicines, including its eye drug Vabysmo, which is growing fast. GSK is also expected to grow in 2025 thanks to its vaccines and HIV treatments. However, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination as head of Health and Human Services could bring challenges for vaccine makers, analysts warn. Pfizer, which made huge profits during COVID-19, is predicted to drop from 5th to 9th place in 2025. Lilly and Novo, on the other hand, are set to bring in over $70 billion combined from their GLP-1 drugs. This rapid growth in GLP-1 sales highlights the strong demand for treatments for obesity and diabetes. As production increases and supply issues ease, more patients may be able to access these medications. However, high costs and insurance challenges could continue to limit availability for some users. Merck and AbbVie are expected to take 2nd and 3rd place in 2025. They will be followed by Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, Novo, AstraZeneca, Novartis, Pfizer, and Sanofi. Merck's cancer drug, Keytruda, is expected to peak in sales this year. The company plans to launch a new version to extend its success. Other top-selling drugs include Dupixent, Skyrizi, Biktarvy, and Darzalex. Evaluate's earlier predictions also pointed to Roche as the sales leader in 2028. Its growth is fueled by drugs for multiple sclerosis, cancer, and hemophilia.
What's interesting is all of those big ones also have GLP-1s in development. Then we've reported on them over the last few weeks, like Merck's been buying people, Pfizer's doing things.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting. All those drugs that I just mentioned, I think almost all of them, with the exception of one, I've seen commercials for.
Yeah, they're household names. It's
Dupixent, Skyrizi, Biktarvy.
There is an annoying jingle for all of those.
Right. So it's... and, we saw a Lilly commercial last night on the Golden Globes. There was a Lilly commercial for their treatment of weight and obesity. So they're definitely trying to increase their position.
Well, everybody's rushing to profit, so no big surprise there. That wraps up today's edition of the Downsized News. While you're here, don't forget to check out our Downsized store at thedownsized.org, where you'll find GLP-1 companion products and more to support your adventure.
Before we wrap up, if you've enjoyed following the adventure Christopher and I are on and want to keep up with the latest news, stories, and tips about GLP-1s, be sure to like this video and please subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update or live stream. Your support helps keeps us sharing helpful content with anyone looking for better health with GLP-1s. I'm Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham. We are the Downsized. See you next time.